always, we've got Jim Delahunt here with me. Jim, we're going to look forward to the 2,000, the 1,000 guineas in a minute. But first of all, Punchestown. I mean, the Irish are going to have to do something to stop these British handicap hurdlers, aren't they? I mean, they can't let this go on. I mean, we've had six British winners over the 3 days so far. It's been fantastic, including a Scottish winner with Mike Smith, ridden by son Ben at 50 to 1. It's been great, Punchestown so far, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been fantastic. Even Nicky Henderson getting in with the 1-2 yesterday. Brian Hughes on Doddy the Great behind that other one, James Bowen Road. And yeah, Tuesday was magnificent. I mean, the Mike Smith winner was a horse which had qualified back at Ayr in March. Punchestown had brought a team over. They were very big on these qualifiers going round the tracks in Scotland and England, trying to get horses to come over to Punchestown. It was a great initiative. Albert Bartlett, of course, Scottish sponsor, so we had to go to Ireland to get Scottish money back. But Mike Smith finished second in that qualifier. He then didn't want to spoil the horse's handicap mark, despite the fact there was a doubt he'd even get into the race. But he went for a racecourse gallop instead and headed over to Ireland, put his son up, claiming £7. I think young Ben rode at 9 stone 8, which was absolutely astonishing. He'll never ride it that weight again. I think Mike said to him, this is a very much a one-off. So he rode at 9 stone 8. He got the job done. I thought that he might have hit the front too soon, but the horse was going so well. He was so well handicapped, going so well. Got to the front, rode a terrific finish to stay there. And quite astonishing, Robert, he's only ridden 12 winners. And two of them, one of them's been at the Punchestown Festival and one's been at the Aintree Festival. So surely he's advertised his talents and he's going to pick up some more rides.
Yeah, he's very, very good, isn't he? I couldn't believe it when he said he'd only had 7 winners this season for a
Yeah.
jockey at his standard, and that claiming that £7 seems to be a steal. But then he's went down to the Guerrero stable. They've not used him that often. I think he's only had about 28 rides for them. So still, the bulk of his rides are still for his dad. But I mean, you were at Ayr last night. His dad's picking the winners in the flat as well. I mean, it's quite incredible the form they're in, isn't it?
The form is magnificent. He had that winner at Perth last week. You'll remember that one, Robert. He then had a winner at the Fife Point to Point on Saturday, I think it was. He then had another winner at Ayr on Monday. He then had the winner at Punchestown on Tuesday. And the same horse that won at Ayr on Monday won again last night to make it 10 course wins. And that puts him two clear of three others on 8. So I think one of the owners was saying to me afterwards, they're going to come back and try and win 11 and 12 and make that just an unbeatable record. So the Smith horse is in tremendous form going forward. And I think having a wee look at Mike close up last night, I think he'll take a few days to recover.
Just the final word on Punchestown. I mean, these British handicap hurdlers seem to be very well treated going across there. I mean, will this maybe open up British trainers looking at these Sunday handicaps in Ireland just to go over and try and raid some of their prize money for a change?
I really hope it does because I've banged on for years that it's a wasted opportunity. I mean, they treat it as a foreign country. It's just a couple of hours on the ferry. Get over there, get some prize money in the bank. I mean, the Irish horses coming over here tend to get hit by £3 or £4, maybe 5 or 6 in the handicap. But the Irish handicapper's been very, very generous to some of the British horses going over there, especially in handicap hurdles. Although I think the one we're going to pinpoint later in the programme's a chaser. But yeah, get over there, get some prize money. Mike Smith proved you can do it. Nicky Henderson does it more regularly than most, as does Harry Derham. So the money's there. If you can qualify, if you can sneak into the bottom of those handicaps, get over and get a share of it.
Yeah, definitely. But we'll move on to Newmarket, where the main event's the 2,000 guineas this weekend, the first classic of the year in the flat season. When we spoke a few weeks ago that Field of Gold, and you thought 3 to 1, he looked a bit skinny. Now that
Yeah.
looks a huge price now because Twain, the one you fancied, doesn't come. Dirty Scope. Aidan O'Brien's only ended up with one in the race. I mean, Field of Gold, is the market right? Is he the one that they've got to beat here, Jim?
Well, the market's right now because Twain was. I thought Twain had a really good chance, but you never know about the excuses that come from Ballydoyle. But apparently it's a dirty scope, and they've decided to run expanding now. I simply can't have the Irish. Sorry, I simply can't have the Ballydoyle third string winning the 2,000 guineas. So expanded. I heard that was going to run in a listed race at the Curragh on Monday. So to go for a listed race at the Curragh on Monday to suddenly be in the first string in the Guineas, I think that's just too dramatic a jump for me. Even though Ryan Moore under contract has to ride it, I'd be very surprised if that horse was involved. For Field of Gold, you're right. He is the right favourite now. But the horse that I was always going to put up as an each way alternative this weekend was one of Joseph O'Brien's horses called Score Champ. And looking at the prices this morning, he's still an each way price at 13-2. Dylan Brown McMonagle's on him. Now, his form ties in with Henri Matisse, which is the Ballydoyle horse, which is heading for the French 2,000 guineas. I'm still not sure why that one's not going for the English 2,000 guineas, but there you go. They seem to think it'll be better suited by France. So the Score Champ form ties in with him. And I think in this field, that might be good enough to get a place. He might even win it. So Score Champ each way for me. I think Field of Gold will be in the first three. I don't have any doubt about that. And of course, William Buick has chosen between Ruling Court and Shadow of Light. He's come down on Ruling Court side. I can't believe William's got that wrong, having ridden these two horses in gallop. So I suspect he'll be in the first three. So Scotty Champ each way for me. What about you?
I quite like Shadow of Light, but as you say, the news the last 24 hours that William Buick's jumped ship and is on
Yeah.
ruling court is a big negative for him. Green Impact, well, big in the pace of these races, and Green Impact for Jesse Harrington's quite interesting, which is a front runner, and Jesse's only had one runner in the race before, finished third with Lucky Vega
Yeah.
2021. So I thought that one was interesting enough if he gets away in the front, but I'm kind of with you as well, Jim. I think Field of Gold is the one to beat, and I'll probably end up just watching it, to be perfectly honest.
Okay, well, that's Saturday, of course, the 2,000. We'll come back to this Newmarket card on Saturday in just a minute, but I think we're going to touch on the 1,000, aren't we? Which is on Sunday.
Yeah, and we've got Lake Victoria, who won the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies, looked a real huge big filly last year, and then Desert Flower, who's unbeaten, 4 out of 4, beaten January twice, won the Fillies Mile. Do you think it's just a straight shootout between those two, or do you have something else in the race that you're going to flag up in the Sunday column?
Well, I think that Lake Victoria was a very late declaration. Maybe we shouldn't read too much into that because unless I missed something, she was always going to come here once that little scare had gone out of the way. So Lake Victoria is definitely the one to beat. But the one I'm going to put up on Sunday, and hopefully it's going to be the headline bet, and hopefully it's going to run well, is Red Letter for Ger Lyons. It'll run in the Abdullah colours. Colin Keane, very underrated jockey in this country, but not in Ireland. Ger and Colin looking, well, certainly Ger looking for his first English classic or British classic, we should say. But Red Letter, I thought, ran well each occasion last year. Ger, I pay very close attention to the Irish interviews after these big races, and Ger was always quite keen that this horse would go straight to the Newmarket 1,000 guineas. And I think in a very open race, now that there have been just one or two doubts about Lake Victoria, I think that Red Letter is very well worth a punt on Sunday, and I'm probably going to nap that in Sunday's column, Robert. So Red Letter for me in the 1,000 guineas for Ger Lyons and the still underrated, bizarrely in my book, Colin Keane.
Well, just going back to Saturday, we've got the 145, the Betfred handicap over 6 furlongs, where we've got More Thunder's the likely favourite. Uh, one at the Craven meeting a few weeks ago, beating Wood Hay Wonder and Amraram. I think the three of them could end up fighting this out again, but I quite fancy Wood Hay Wonder to turn the form over on better ground this time. He's on a career high mark, but was only beat half a length like Ascot last year off a
Yeah.
mark of 99. So I think that one will return into quicker ground. Having had a run now, I think that one will have a big chance. It's about 5-1. I can see that one turning the tables on More Thunder this time, despite More Thunder being really impressive when it
Yeah,
won.
like you, I'm a Wood Hay Wonder fan, and I do think that this horse is going to win big races this year. Only a 4-year-old, of course, ran some tremendous races last year, as you say. I'm a huge fan. I think it will run a huge race on Saturday. The one I think will probably win this, and I'm just against you on this one, Robert, is Lethal Levi, the Air Gold Cup winner. It's carrying top weight of 9 stone 12. Clifford Lee is in the saddle again. He was in the saddle at Ayr. Now he's £7 higher than Ayr. And that means he's £10 worse off with the runner-up, his stablemate Silky Wilkie. I wouldn't read too much into that because I think they all think in that yard that Lethal Levi has improved massively, despite being a 6-year-old. He ran third in a Group 3 first time out this season. I'm not sure too many of these would be capable of doing that. And despite being £7 higher than Ayr, I think Lethal Levi, there might be one more betting him, and I think it might be Saturday. So much as I respect Wood Hay Wonder, big fan going forward, Lethal Levi for me.
And what else on the Newmarket card have you got for the weekend, Jim?
Yeah, I've got two others picked out, Robert, and the first one is a horse called Seven Questions. Now, it shouldn't be new to anybody because he won this race last year, but the form did tail off a little bit. And amazingly, in my book, he was picked up for 50 grand at the end of season training sales by Frittery Hay. And I think in the new colours, at a new stable for Robert Cowell with Luke Morris in the saddle, I think first time out might be the time to catch 7 questions. So picked up very cheaply. He cost 58 grand as a yearling. And he actually won some good races, as I say, including this Group 3 last year. But they picked him up for 50k. So obviously, previous trainer George Scott didn't think he was going any further forward. But Robert Cowell is an absolute wizard at transforming old sprinters. And I think 7 questions, first time up, it's the time to get on him for the Hayes colours, 255. And the other one I'm looking at is a horse which won at Pontefract last time. And again, visually very impressive. 3-year-old trained by David O'Mara, whose horses are in really good form. Gets the services of Oisin Murphy. Dark Cloud Rising is the horse in question. He's number 8 on the card in the 440. It's over 6 furlongs, 3-year-old handicap. Murphy in the saddle. Dark Cloud Rising for me.
And then we move on up north to Thirsk, where we've got the Thirsk Hunt Cup, 7 furlong, well, nearly a mile handicap.
Yeah.
You put one up in the paper on Thursday. It wasn't declared in the end. The name escapes me, Jim. What was the one you put up?
Yeah, the one I put up was one of James Tate's, and it's one of these things you phone the office and they say, "Oh yeah, that'll run," and then you discover that it doesn't. But that's the perils of tipping on a Thursday for a Saturday. But that'll run somewhere else. I'll keep an eye out for that. But I'm just looking at one each way here, Robert. Cruyff Turn for the Tim Easterby yard. Did a couple of winners at Ayr last night. A couple of winners. I think there's at least one winner at Redcar yesterday. Horses are absolutely flying. David Allen's battering in the first strings. Sean Curran's battering in the second strings. And I think Cruyff Turn, he's running this race 3 times, 97, 97 and 90. He runs in it on Saturday off 89. He won his last race at Redcar. He's £5 higher for that. He's a bit of an old horse that you should really know all about. He's 8 years old now. Fantastically named, of course, Cruyff Turn, after that young Barcelona player doing all the tricks in that match the other night. But Cruyff Turn for me, but it has to be each way because there's bound to be something in this race. It's got a decent handicap mark, and I think you have pinpointed Obelix is going to be the favourite.
Yeah, Obelix, he looks dangerous off a mark of 86. I mean, he was only beaten 3/4 of a length in a Class 2 for Gosden back in the day. That was over a mile and 2, right enough. But I thought Obelix right down at the bottom for a stable with the Camacho stables flying. So I thought Obelix, who, I mean, he'll be ridden kind of in the middle of the pack, and I think he'll be ready to pounce late. So I thought Obelix was worth a second look there. It's about 6 to 1.
Yeah, that's very fair. And Ryan Sexton riding well. He's going to be in the saddle. I think you fancy one at 455.
No.
No, you don't. That's good. We'll kill that one.
The draw killed that idea, Jim. The draw
right,
killed
okay,
that
that
idea.
one's out.
Yeah,
Nobody needs to know.
Yeah, well, no, I'll say which one it was. It was Ready Freddy Go, but it's been drawn once, drawn in box 1, so I kind of put a line through it on that basis. But
yeah, I take your point.
Yes, we'll watch it win and beat the draw statistics. But so we'll move over to Ireland to Punchestown, where let's say it's the final week of the Irish jump season. Theirs ended a week ago, but the final week of theirs, and I fancy your own story. A horse that we put up at Kelso a few weeks ago was second in this 3 mile 7 race last year, just touched off half a length, and just horse seems to be in great form still. I mean, they put the visor on him for the first time at Kelso. He was just beaten by Cadell, stablemate, who I think just benefited from Alan Doyle's £3 that he can claim. I mean, he kept the headgear on here. He's back to the same mark, 125, that he was when second last year. He could have run in the Scottish National. He would have got into the Scottish National, but they've decided to keep him back for this. 3 mile 7, right up his street. The ground might be a wee bit more lively than he probably wants, but they seem to be tipping plenty of water on it at Punchestown, despite the sunshine over there. So I fancy your own story. I believe you do as well, Jim.
Yeah, really, we're both on this one big time. Robert goes off at 3:05, half a furlong short of 4 miles around Punchestown. The ground's been great there this week, so I don't think we've got any complaints about the ground whatsoever. As you say, Lucinda Russell and Skew keep the visor on after the first time visor run last time. Patrick Wadge had a few near misses at Perth. He rode a couple of seconds. Could do with a winner, but he rode a very nice race in the race we talked about earlier. The race won by Mike Smith's horse By Some Time. And Patrick was on one for Lucinda Rocheval, and that ran a very good sixth, hit some trouble and ran on really well. Might have finished closer without that trouble. So Patrick's had a run round there at Punchestown this week. I don't see any problem with his form, despite the fact that he could do with a winner. I think he'll suit this horse down to the ground. And interestingly, I see that last year's winner runs again the gradual slope. And I was checking the weights. Your own story is £5 better off for, what did you say, half a length?
I think it was half a length, yeah.
Yeah, so £5 better off over 4 miles. I think I've said before, when it comes to these little margins over 4 miles, it doesn't matter too much, but you'd rather have it on your side than not. So £5 better off with the winner for half a length. And I think your own story. I don't think we're expecting a huge price, Robert, but I think we're expecting a big run, and I think we will get a big run. So we're both on that one.
Yeah, I kind of let a Hexham meeting go past, even though it's well, it's technically the start of the new jump season, but kind of let a Hexham meeting go past without having a good look at it. And I thought the 5:35 First Street for Nicky Henderson, ridden by Brian Hughes, who's having good success riding for Nicky Henderson with Doddy the Great these days, finished second the other day as well.
Yeah.
Henderson's had 9 runners at the track in the last 5 years, 3 winners, 4 placed. So you know he targets, the horses that come up here are always got a right chance. I thought First Street's form with Teddy Blue, Asta La Pasta for Kempton was good last time out. You're talking about a horse that was 150 over hurdles not too long ago. Was 140 chaser. He's now in here off 127, so he looks pretty well in this grade. We don't have prices at the moment, so I don't know what kind of price he'll be. I mean, I think he'd have to have a right chance. Hopefully, we get a nice enough price. The 6:10, a horse called Smoking in the Dark, who we both liked when he beat Jet to Vegas, subsequent Grade 2 winner at Musselburgh. And we were kind of come away disappointed when we put him up at Carlisle and come away disappointed when he finished third. But time's kind of affected that a wee bit because it now appears Bellamigo, who won the race that day, was a right good horse, is a right good horse. And Spadestep, I thought, for a horse that's so green, ran a very good race at Perth last week. So we're kind of looking at that form in a bit of a different light now. I think Nicky Richards, great strike rate at the moment, 37%. Stepping back to 2 miles, I don't think it'll be too much of a problem for him. He's from a family of horses that have won over 2 miles, so I don't think that'll be too much of a problem. Moonchime, who's coming up for down south, went off 9-1 at Aintree for the Aintree handicap last month. I think he's a big danger, but Smoking in the Dark to me just looks like a horse that's pretty progressive, and if that form for Bellamigo and Spadestep stands up, then I think he should go close.
Yeah, I was looking at that Bellamigo race as well, and I mentioned this one in the column on Thursday, Robert, Smoking in the Dark. I did a little calculation on the back of a fag packet and reckoned you could have given him 125 here. Now he's got in with 119, and I think Nicky Richards has pinpointed this race. Danny McMenamin in the saddle. Scottish owned, of course, same owner as the Kaluki kid. Gentleman from, it's Eddie Melville actually from Kirkcaldy. So his colours will be to the fore at Hexham. And I'm very, very much with you on Smoking in the Dark. I'm just hoping we get a half decent price. And you're going to throw one more in before we leave.
Well, Romeo Brown, the 740, is a horse I've been waiting to pop up for a long time. He actually won at 50 to 1 at Aintree 3 years ago and hasn't really been sighted since. He's dropped down to a mark of 99 for 128. I mean, he's 11 years old now. But his last 2 runs at Hexham, I just think there's been a flicker of life there. He's finished second, finished third, but he looked like he was going to win the last time. Just got swallowed up after the last. Now they're sending him back up to 3 miles here, and he's a previous winner over 3 miles. The trip will not be a problem. I think he's just looks like a horse that's been chapping on the door. So wouldn't he surprise? He's been a terribly difficult horse to catch. So I mean, he does come with a bit of a health warning, but he just looks to me like a horse that's just getting ready to win a race again. Killybeg's Jet Lady for Lucinda Russell's a danger, but that one was beaten a long way at Carlisle and then was pulled up at Hexham. So I just wonder if that wants a flat track. So I would imagine that would be probably the favourite, Killybeg Jet's Lady. But I'd be quite happy to take her on, and I think Romeo Brown could be the one this weekend.
Well, it would be very nice to round off a Saturday night with a couple of winners at Hexham, and fingers crossed that we can get a winner at Newmarket as well. Maybe in the 2,000 guineas, and of course looking forward to Sunday. I'll be back on on Sunday with the diary column, looking a bit more in depth at that Newmarket card on Sunday. But looking forward to this weekend, everybody, and thanks very much once again for watching. Thanks, Robert.
Thanks, folks. Cheers.